We are so thrilled to be partnering with Hinge. Hinge is the dating app designed to be deleted. As you all know, I'm a huge Hinge advocate as I met my partner of almost 3 years on the app. Even before meeting him, Hinge was always my go-to app because I met more relationship-minded people here and had some great dates. Clearly, I haven't been on the app for a little while, but I re-downloaded it to check out some of the new features. One that stood out to me was the voice prompt, my best friend's take on why you should date me, where your friend can hype you up. Not only does this make the profile creation less daunting, but it's not always easy to see your own green flags. So to test it out, I asked Yue some fun prompts to get her take on what I could put if I was dating again. So the first one, how long have we known each other? What was your first impression of me and how has that changed?
Julie and I have known each other for almost 10 years. My first impression of Julie was that she's very social, but I've learned that she has a lot more depth to her beyond the social butterfly that she is.
My next prompt, what do you think are my green flags?
I would say she's deeply loyal. She believes in love, curious mindset, and she is fearlessly ambitious.
And then last but not least, what kind of friend am I?
Julie is the kind of friend who will always have your back, no matter what.
Damn, that feels nice to hear. So download Hinge and try voice prompts today. Then find someone worth deleting the app for. I was so excited to get my shipment from Last Bottle Wines in the mail the other day, full of incredible red wines, all from Napa Valley. I love wine tasting, so having this to my door couldn't be happier. Also, couldn't be more excited that today's episode is brought to you by Last Bottle Wines. If you don't know already, they're a Napa-based online wine shop with a twist. They offer just one handpicked wine per day until it sells out, and they're always at incredible prices. We're talking 30 to 70% off retail. And the best part is that there's no subscriptions, no fees, and no minimum purchase. And I could not be more excited to bring this offer right now because they're having a marathon sale, which is coming up March 28th and 29th. Even better, we're offering Dateable listeners 10% off your first order with code DATEABLE. So if you are a wine lover like me, this is a great time to join. And did I mention that shipping is 100% free? So what are you waiting for? Mark your calendar for March 28th and 29th or get on it earlier if you want. You can sign up at lastbottlewines.com and use code DATEABLE and find out why Last Bottle is the most fun way to discover and buy amazing wine.
The Dateable podcast is an insider's look into modern dating that the Huffington Post calls one of the top 10 podcasts about love and sex. On each episode, we'll talk to real daters about everything from sex parties to sex droughts, date fails to diaper fetishes, and first moves to first loves. I'm your host, Yue Xu, former dating coach turned dating sociologist. You'll also hear from my co-host and producer, Julie Krafchick, as we explore this crazy dateable world. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Dateable podcast. Welcome to our off season. We're still chilling here on our off season, but we are about to be back for season 16.
Oh, yes, we are. Can't be more excited.
So that's coming next week. Get ready.
But for now, we are still continuing the off season. And, we are a week out from Valentine's Day. I feel like people have a very love-hate relationship with this holiday.
Yep.
I know I did for years. So I was curious what people thought. But before I go into it, we did a poll in the Facebook group to hear people's thoughts on Valentine's Day. Yue, what's your sentiment of the holiday?
I don't know anybody who loves it. I only know people who hates the holiday. I don't celebrate it. We acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. My partner and I go to dinner a few days before or a few days after. But on the day of, it's not like, oh my God, it's Valentine's Day. It's not on my calendar by any means. What about you?
I have a love-hate relationship. I think I fall into that camp. Like there were times that it would make me very depressed, especially if I was not in a relationship or I just recently ended one.
Yeah.
I remember there was a period with I don't know if maybe it was coincidentally because of Valentine's Day or just the timing. I feel like there was a period that like every relationship I had ended in January, only a few weeks before Valentine's Day. So still be fresh. And it was just a reminder. So for that reason, I really did not like it. That being said, last year when I was in a relationship, that was our first Valentine's Day together. I think for me, there was like a little bit of pressure on it because I had kind of given it this other side of pressure, right? Of feeling like down, that I'm like, I don't want to be disappointed was kind of what I was feeling. It wasn't that I needed like to be all out, but I didn't want to be disappointed by the holiday. It's something that is marked on my calendar just because it's on everyone's calendar, but it's just a reminder every year, I think.
So what did you guys end up doing last year?
It actually worked out really well. We wanted to go to the hot springs anyways, and we ended up going on Super Bowl Sunday because that's when it was like really inexpensive, but that was like right before Valentine's Day.
Get the good value.
And we went from the Sunday into the Monday, which was Valentine's Day. So it worked out really well in the sense that we actually, you know how things are usually jacked up on Valentine's Day. Like restaurants are extremely high. So when you said like we either go out a few days before or after, I'm like, yep, I get it. Because they just kill you on it.
I know.
So we did that. And we did a dinner too. It wasn't like for Valentine's Day, but it was kind of before. And of course, we got totally taken advantage of. Like the normal preset price of that place was probably like $50 to $60 cheaper than what we ended up paying on Valentine's Day.
Right. Of course. But were you happy with what you
I was totally
did?
happy.
Good.
And I think like I made a joke on this podcast that I wanted a chocolate rose. Do you remember? I was saying that I really wanted chocolate roses.
Yeah.
And my partner came through. He gave me a lot of chocolate roses. So yes, I was very happy. But I think like now that I'm 2 years into a relationship, I don't care as much. I feel like my caring went down significantly.
I was going to say, I think Valentine's Day was more exciting when you're in a newer relationship.
It's kind of like a test. Is this person gonna step it up? I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I do think there is a little bit of that. Like, are they gonna do a good job?
That's a challenging word.
Yeah, I mean,
but it is a way to also just like be romantic and show that you're serious about each other. It is a test in a way of like, how are we celebrating, the extent of the celebration? That's been my source of anxiety for many years with new relationships. It's all about the timing. The reason why we don't celebrate Valentine's Day as much is because the back-to-back holidays, it goes from the December holidays to New Year's, and then it's my birthday right away, and then it's Chinese New Year's, and then it's Valentine's Day. It's just like back-to-back. All those other holidays seem to be a much bigger deal than Valentine's Day for me.
Yeah.
It's just like back to back. So we just don't really prioritize.
Yeah.
By the time of Valentine's Day, it's like, we're done. We're done celebrating.
Yeah. No, I can see that. I think like when you're in a newer relationship too, or you're in that in-between stage, and that's where I think maybe it's more of a test. I do hate using the word test, but I also feel like it kind of is what Valentine's Day is. It's a artificially created holiday that people hold this like weight that really shouldn't be there, but because it's a Hallmark holiday, because it's so overhyped in media, I do think that pressure comes with it. So I feel like when I've been the most obsessed with it is when I'm kind of like in the middle of like, I'm not sure where where something's really going. So it's almost like a sign. Is this person are they committed because of Valentine's Day? When it like saying that out loud now, it's so ridiculous.
I think it should be renamed DTR Day.
Yeah.
Because it really is a defining holiday. If you're spending Valentine's Day together, you're in a relationship.
Definitely. So I was curious what the sentiment was because, you know, everyone feels so strongly in some direction on this holiday. So we did a Facebook poll in our group, Love in the Time of Corona, as we like to do. So it was actually pretty split, 15% and 16%. 15% said love it, great way to show love, whether I have a partner or not. 16% hate it, it's a dumb Hallmark holiday.
Okay.
What's interesting is most of the people fell into don't hate it, don't love it, indifferent. That was 34%. Or like it only when I have a partner to celebrate with was 26%. People also added two options that probably didn't get enough votes just because they were added later. But I like the red and pink themed chocolate ensuing sale on said chocolate. And then the other one was prefer to shower my close friends with love for Galentine's Day.
Yeah, great. That sounds about right. I think people are definitely pretty split, and it just depends on how you want to view the holiday. If you want to make a big deal out of it, you make a big deal out of it. If you don't, you don't. You choose to celebrate however you want. I do think if you are in a partnership, though, or just are dating someone, it's so important to communicate what the holiday means to you instead of hoping and testing that they're going to do this one thing, like show up with chocolate hearts for you when you haven't communicated that.
That is definitely a way to be disappointed, right? If you just have these expectations. And I think what I would say from my past that I would maybe caution people on is holding so much weight to it that it gets you down. I remember like groups of girlfriends being like, let's go out, let's hit the town, you know, and like that felt too much to me also. I guess everyone needs to kind of figure out what's right for them. But I think like for me, by the end, I just kind of like pretended like it didn't exist, especially when it was on like a Tuesday. It's really easy to pretend it doesn't exist.
It's the best when it's on a Tuesday. Yeah. It's hard when it's like a Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. This year it is midweek. No one cares. It's a day that you probably wouldn't be doing anything anyways. If you're single, if it's getting you down, just like have the night like you normally would and just pretend it doesn't happen.
That's a good point. I remember, what is the timing of Valentine's Day this year? I would look every January to just figure it out, just so I know if I would be disappointed or not. There was one year that Valentine's Day was the same day as Lunar New Year. So I was like, yes, I get to like celebrate Lunar New Year. There was another year that was the exact same day as the Super Bowl. So I went to a Super Bowl party. I'm like, great, we can forget about Valentine's Day. But those years when it's just a silo holiday
on like Friday
night. Yeah. Even though I didn't give a shit, I gave a shit.
Yeah.
Of course I gave a shit.
So one year I did a sleepover party with my girlfriends.
That's fun.
And like a lot of them were actually in relationships. I think I might have been like the only single one of the group, but they were just like, oh, this will be more fun, you know? So I think like people swing different ways. We had one person in our Facebook group, Sarah, write, I'm a big fan of Galentine's Day. I am for some reason rarely seeing someone on Valentine's Day, so I use it as a day to hang out with my ladies.
Nice.
And then we had Jackie write, yes, I love sending Starbucks e-gift cards to my single girlfriends and going out to dinner. Day about love and appreciation for our platonic girlfriends too.
How beautiful is that?
It is really nice. Yes.
Yeah. Again, it's what you make of it.
If I could go back in time, I would probably change my mentality about it and not hold the romantic weight that I did.
Well, it's hard to get out of that because you're going to watch it on the news. It's everywhere around Valentine's Day.
Everywhere like, starting Christmas. I feel like they cleared out the Christmas candy. If you go into Walgreens or any pharmacy, it's like
it's so in your face.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So it's hard to tune it out and hard to be like, I don't care about the holiday because it seems like the rest of the world does care about the holiday. I do remember one year I was in a relationship though, but I think it's because I was in a relationship. I didn't care about the romantic side of it. I gave all my neighbors Valentine's cards because I missed that. And this is actually related to our conversation today. It's like gifting. What do you do?
What do you give?
What do you gift? And I gave everybody a handwritten Valentine's Day card with some candy because I missed that from school. So I thought that was actually kind of a cute thing I did. I was proud of myself.
I really like it. I think starting maybe like when you're single. I mean, you could do this at any stage. Like you said, you were in a relationship when you did it. But I do think if I could go back to my old self instead of wallowing in my misery on Valentine's Day, I do think this idea of giving love to other people, like the Starbucks gift card idea that was posted in our Facebook group, or Valentine's Day cards to your neighbors, like something where you're giving. I know for me, like anytime I give, it always makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And I think that is a way to invite that karma of love into your life if you're putting it out there.
Then we might as well talk about giving.
Yeah.
Gifting and giving on Valentine's Day at every stage in dating. Let's start with early dating. Maybe you've just been seeing each other for a few weeks, less than a month.
Less than a month.
This is like the trickiest timing.
Are you defined or undefined?
Undefined, but you're spending a lot of time together. You do like this person.
Yeah.
You haven't discussed Valentine's Day.
I think candy, like a box of chocolates, that's what, $3.99? Or a card would be good for this because you're acknowledging it. You're not going so above and beyond that if they don't give you something that you're going to be terribly hurt and the expectation of it. I think like if you give a huge gift and you've never discussed it, it could get really awkward if they were like, oh, I didn't know we were doing gifts, right?
Right.
So I think it's either like you have the conversation, or if you don't feel like you're ready to have the conversation, some like token of sentiment, I think is a good approach.
First of all, I think it's like $4.99 now with inflation. So yes, let's level set there. But okay, so you have the gift, box of candy and a card. Are you giving it to this person in person?
I feel like if you're not seeing them in person, then you probably could just send them a text, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like actually, even if it's like the day before and after, you don't need to like get something. I feel like if you're seeing them on the day and you don't know if you're doing like gifts, this is a good call. If you have no plans set up or they're outside of the realm of Valentine's Day, I feel like a text is sufficient.
Yeah. Sometimes just acknowledgement is all you really need. Happy Valentine's Day. Thinking of you.
Yeah.
That's all good. I do remember I really enjoyed this gift. I had just been dating this guy for maybe 3 weeks. We were undefined. We had dinner the day before Valentine's Day, and he said, I got you a little gift. He didn't say it was a Valentine's Day gift, but I got you a little gift. And it was an inside joke we had.
That's cute. I like that. If it's personalized
really cute.
too.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that. It was not a grand gesture. I did not need a grand gesture, but it meant a lot to me.
Yeah, that's the key, is like something that can be meaningful, but also not give pressure. You probably weren't like, oh shit, I didn't get this person something.
Yes.
It was more of just like, oh, that's cute. Like, that's really sweet that they did that.
Yes.
You know?
So maybe that's a good mindset to have if you're in early dating stages. You give without the expectation to receive.
Definitely.
Good. Any other good ones around that time? I think like a nice handwritten card is sweet too.
Well, yeah. I think like when I say card, it doesn't need to be like something super cheesy. I even like at the beginning stage, or maybe not, we had like defined the relationship, but I would just like give cards randomly to my partner, and he like really liked it because it felt like very like heartfelt, you know, and like very personalized. I think personalized is key.
So early dating, check. Okay, how about you've defined the relationship, but still early? 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, getting into the groove of a relationship.
I think at this stage, you should just put it out in the open and talk about it. What does it mean to you? Or, you know, what I kind of did, I mean, it was a little more than 3 to 6 months when we hit Valentine's Day. But even that, I would rather kind of just do an activity together.
Yes.
And it was something I knew we both wanted to do. So I think I was actually the one that posed it of like, oh, actually, it's like pretty inexpensive this weekend. Like, well, let's just make this our Valentine's Day thing. My partner and I do that all the time. Like, I think it also goes back to like, are you big gift people, or are you more about sharing experiences together? For each other's birthday, we do a dinner. Like, we don't actually do gifts. Like, we both prefer that. So I think having some activity that you two can plan together, maybe it's something you've had on your bucket list, or you just think it'd be really cool to do it, and this is kind of an excuse to do it. I think that alleviates pressure because you both know what you're doing. You're not waiting to see what happens on the day. And then anything extra is just gravy at that point.
Gifting is definitely not our love language. I get that maybe some people think gifting is very important. However, I do think in early relationships, it's more important to create memories.
Yeah.
And creating those memories comes from these activities that you're talking about and looking back and saying, remember when we first started dating and we did that one thing? Wasn't that so fun? I much rather think about that than like, remember those socks you got me? I don't know. I don't know what people give. I'm such not a gift person, so I don't even know what people give these days. But creating those memories and think about, even if it's giving a gift, think about what memory that gift can create.
Funny story though is I actually did get my partner socks when he got his job. And I had them say, okay, this is like really dirty, but he's an engineer and his programming language of choice is Scala. So I had the socks, like I got them on Etsy that said like talk Scala to me, like instead of like talk dirty to me.
Wow.
And he loved those. They're not the most comfortable socks, but the sentiment of that. But that was more like, you know, a quirky joke. It wasn't just like, here's a pair of socks.
Wow. Wow. You heard it here first, folks. Speak Scala to me. Oh, the way to an engineer's heart.
Yes.
Okay, I'll have to remember that one. That's very sweet, though.
It's fine tuning, though, for the person. I think that's the message of it.
For sure. Yes, definitely. Okay, so that's 3 to 6 months. What about over a year of dating?
I think maybe it's even just like anti-upping the experience a bit, right? Like in the 3 to 6 months, maybe it's something like you do a day trip or you do something like a nice dinner together. Maybe this time it's a vacation away for a couple days. Like I think it can progress with the time.
I did have one boyfriend that cooked a really nice meal.
That's nice. That's nice.
And I thought that was really sweet because he did not cook. So he looked up the recipes. He learned how to cook that day,
Wow,
and it was actually pretty good. It was pretty delicious. So I appreciate it's the effort. It's the effort that counts. But I agree. It's like you want something a little bit more involved, more invested, however that shapes out for you. But I do like the idea of also doing like a trip or something.
For me, it's more about like spending time together and doing the acts of just quality time. I'd be totally cool with that. And then the next weekend, we go out for dinner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When it's not like crazy prefix,
take a rain check.
Ridiculousness.
Or you do happy hour somewhere, no dinner, and watch all the cheesy things happen. And then you go home and have a home-cooked meal and talk about what you saw.
That could work. That
could be kind of fun. Yeah, happy hour could be great, actually.
Okay. I want to add one thing that I did that I think is good is their expectation is always that in hetero relationships, that the man will get women flowers.
Oh, right. We talked
about
So
my partner last year did get me an orchid. He always gets me an orchid. But I also got him a bouquet of flowers because he loves flowers.
I love that.
So I think it's nice to I think people have different opinions on gendered roles and all that. But my personal take is it's a celebration of love for everyone. I don't need my partner to be doting on me on this day.
No.
I just want to be with my partner, enjoying myself and feeling loved.
I do have this fantasy that my partner would get my mom flowers on Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's
I think
nice.
That would be very
That's
sweet.
really nice.
Right?
My partner did that for my mom on Mother's Day. She was visiting.
That's very sweet.
That was good. Yes.
Yeah, that's very sweet. That means a lot more to me than him getting me flowers. Putting it out there.
Let's hold that thought for a quick message.
This episode is brought to you by the One Love Foundation. The numbers of people affected by relationship abuse are startling. Abusive relationships rarely start with physical abuse. Instead, there are often red flags like manipulation, isolation, belittling, and volatility. Do you know the signs? One Love Foundation, a national nonprofit dedicated to ending relationship abuse, empowers you to see the signs of an unhealthy relationship before things go too far. Visit joinonelove.org and learn to spot the signs of unhealthy and healthy relationship behaviors. This episode is made possible by Blissy. Now, who knew that a better pillowcase is all you need for better sleep? And this year, you can achieve better sleep with Blissy's award-winning 100% mulberry silk pillowcases. Seriously, silk is what's best for your hair and skin. It reduces frizz, tangles, and prevents breakage. Blissy's pillowcases regulate temperature, keeping you cool at night. And the mulberry silk is naturally hypoallergenic, so no more itching or rashes. Unlike other silk pillowcases, these are of the highest quality silk and are machine washable and durable. From night one, I was already seeing the difference. My hair was so smooth when I woke up, I just rolled out of bed and looked presentable. I seriously woke up like this. Everybody who has tried Blissy loves them. They have a ton of different prints and colors, and they make great gifts because there's an option for literally anyone. Try now risk-free for 60 nights at blissy.com/dateable and get an additional 30% off. That's BLISSY.com/DATEABLE and use the code DATEABLE to get an additional 30% off. Your skin and hair will thank you. This episode is sponsored by Via. We all know there are things that can help set the mood in the bedroom, but did you know a little THC could also do that? Yes, Via has developed a unique blend of pleasure-enhancing cannabinoids, libido-strengthening herbs, and a low dose of THC all into one mind-blowing gummy called High Love. This gummy, wow, it will awaken your senses, increase blood flow, and intensify any sexual experience. I've been pleasantly surprised by the High Love gummies because it is just the right amount of THC for me to have a good time without feeling sleepy. And hey, if THC is not your thing, Via also offers a wide array of other gummies without it. And everything legally ships in 50 states with discreet packaging directly to your door. So if you're over 21, you can get 15% off and a free pack of award-winning Dreams THC plus CBN sleep gummies with our exclusive code DATEABLE at viahemp.com. That's VIIAHEMP.com. Let the gummies work their magic. Head to viahemp.com and use the code DATEABLE to receive 15% off and one free sample of their Sleepy Dream gummies. That's viahemp.com and use the code DATEABLE at checkout. Take your passion and pleasure to a whole new level with high love from Via Hemp. This episode is made possible by Badlands Pets. As you all know, Mojo, my precious baby, is the reason why I found love in the first place. He made me feel love again. So I would do anything to ensure his health and longevity. And actress Katherine Heigl and I have that in common. She's helped save over 16,000 dogs through her foundation. And after doing a ton of research, she feels there's one place we can look to improve any dog's health, and that's their food. So fortunately, she found that just by adding a few special superfoods to her dog's food, she saw huge transformations in their health. So she's made a 20-minute video explaining step by step how anyone can do the same thing to see incredible changes in their dog's health. I've definitely re-looked at what I'm feeding Mojo and making sure that, hey, he only has one life to live, and I want to make sure it's the best damn life. So if you want to keep your dog healthy and happy, go to badlandsfood.com/dateable and watch Catherine's video right now. Again, that's badlandsfood.com/dateable.
As you know, I recently left my corporate job and I've been in total recovery mode, all about self-care. One of my new routines is the nighttime shower before bed. There's just something about washing away the day and that reflection that's been super helpful for me. I've been using one of our partners, Osea's Mega Moisture Duo. This combo body oil and body lotion are so freaking incredible. It literally feels like I'm at a spa. I realized that the secret is seaweed and other skin level ingredients that are normally reserved for face products. And that's why I was so excited when Osea became one of our partners. And, you know, we're so grateful for partners like this because one, they keep the show going, but they're also super good for all of our listeners and for our own well-being. So if you want to have that nighttime bliss like I am doing, you can get 10% off your first order site-wide with code DATEABLE at oseamalibu.com. You'll get free samples with every order and free shipping on orders over $60. So head to oseamalibu.com and use the code DATEABLE for 10% off. Let us know which products you end up going with. Share them in social. Super excited to see what you end up choosing. Do you still get gifts from your mom on Valentine's Day? Because my mom always sends me a gift.
What? Does she really? That's so sweet.
It was funny.
What did she send you?
Well, because I was in Starbucks and I saw like they had like the Valentine's Day gift cards. And I'm like, that's so lame. Who would send that? I'm like, wait, that's what I get from my mom every year.
That's so sweet. I love that.
And it's so great because, you know, I'm a Starbucks fiend too. So it's really nice.
Yes.
I think like if it's like your significant other, it might be kind of lame to give them a Starbucks gift card, but it's perfect for all these people. Like we even talked about in the Facebook group, getting your girlfriends that. Like there's a time and a place for those Starbucks gift cards for sure.
Listen, that Starbucks gift card means so much to Julie. If you don't know Julie, she drinks Starbucks every day, right?
Not anymore because it's kind of far for me. I mean, it's not like far, but it's a little further walk. So and my partner got me a cold brew maker. See, you got to get the personalized gifts. I do love it though. I do have iced coffee every day. See, it's all about tailoring it to the person.
Exactly. Because that can mean nothing to someone and mean the world to you. Yeah,
I love that cold brew maker. That thing was such a great gift.
Pretty cool. That's pretty dope. Okay, another tangent thought I just had. We talked about Galentine's Day. What do guys do? We love to hear from you all. What do you guys do for like Galentine's Day?
I feel like guys do
get
not
together.
give a shit. Okay, I'm generalizing. Maybe there's some guy out there that just loves Valentine's Day. But I would go on a gamble that most don't give a shit about it. Like if they're single, they're not like depressed about it. Unless,
sure,
I don't know, someone prove me wrong. Maybe there's some guys out there that feel differently.
But listen, here's a tip for you all single men out there. if you go out with your guy friends on Valentine's Day, you're going to meet a lot of single women who are open to meeting you. Do you remember there was a group of guys in SF and they would do these like tuxedo nights?
Yes,
they would all wear a tuxedo and they like go out to the bars. I thought that was such a fantastic idea. You could do that with your guy friends and make a night out of it.
You could clean up. Actually, this is a great idea for any guy that's like, I can't get a match on a dating app. Just go out on Valentine's Day.
Go out on Valentine's Day. There are 2 days you should go out on. Valentine's Day and rainy days.
Yeah.
Those are the
hot
perfect
tip
days.
Right there.
Yeah.
I was like,
seek the opportunity.
I was like trying to see if I could look at our poll of like the breakdown of men and women that said like, I love Valentine's Day, but there's no way.
There's no way. It'd be so hard. I know. I think the general sentiment is men don't really celebrate with their guy friends, but I would love it if you all started doing it. Make it a trend.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, someone's out, right? Like when there are people out at bars on Valentine's Day. It's definitely a thing.
It's definitely a thing. They're like singles nights.
I feel like before it got kind of like this depressed. Like, I think this is where I struggled. It was hard for me to lose the connotation of like, oh, you're like this poor single person going out. But that actually is not what it is at all. It's people that are just like, fuck yeah, we're having a great time. But like, I couldn't change that mentality. So therefore I missed out. And I recognize that now.
How do you take back the holiday and make it your own?
That's what it is. I think people took it back.
So
okay,
very
5
quickly,
years and above.
5 and above.
Let's do like 3 and above because I feel like that's
5 is like
the same sentiment. You know, like I feel like once you get past 2, you don't care. Is my take.
You're living together now. Yeah, you've met the parents. Like,
yeah, basically, it's like not a novel thing anymore.
Yeah. What do you do?
Whatever year that is for you. Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Maybe you just go back to like sending a text. I don't know. Just acknowledge it. Hey, honey.
You're like in the other room. You're like, happy Valentine's Day.
Thinking of you.
Well, I just remember. So, oh my God. I remember I was supposed to go out with my ex the night before Valentine's Day. That was supposed to be our first date.
Oh.
And then he canceled last minute. And he canceled last minute, but he did like say like, I want to reschedule. Later on, I found out that he was like helping his family like wine event that's every year on that day.
Oh, right.
So like, but I didn't know any context, right? And then of course the next day I see on Facebook that his friend checked him and her in. You remember when Facebook check-ins used to be a big thing?
Yeah.
To the wine event, and it said like Happy Valentine's Day, and I was just like, oh, what the fuck, kind of, you know? And I mean, like I clearly was missing a lot of context, but that's what social media can do for you.
Context is hard.
Anyways, I was with my friend, one of our mutual friends, and her husband. We were hanging out, and I was like, oh, should I like leave you guys to like, they'd been together for, I don't know, 10 years at this point, like a long time. They met in college. And I was like, you know, I can like leave you guys to like do Valentine's Day. They're like, we don't give a shit about Valentine's Day. They're like, please stay. Like, this is not an important thing to us in the slightest.
Yeah, please save us.
I'm like, I don't want to impose. I don't want to ruin your Valentine's Day.
They're like, actually,
we don't care.
Like, my gift to her is a threesome. So you are the gift.
That
Julie.
did not happen, but
drop your pants, everyone. This actually reminds me of a story. I don't think I've ever told you this, or maybe I have, but I'll tell you who it is and it'll make sense later.
Oh, God.
When we're off air.
I love when we do that. We tell a story and then later you're like, it's this person. I'm like, what?
I was single at the time. A girlfriend of mine had been in a relationship for at least 2 years at that point, and she lived in a different city where I would have to fly to her. But anyway, she called me and she's like, do you want to spend Valentine's Day with me? And I was a little perplexed. You have a partner. Aren't you going to spend it with him? And she said, oh, he has to work and he just won't have the time. So I'm like, sure, whatever. I'll fly to you and we'll have Valentine's Day together. I get there and her fucking partner surprises her.
Oh my God.
And shows up at her door because what had been happening was they were fighting. Yes. He was trying to make it up to her.
Oh my God. This is so awkward.
I didn't know that they've been fighting. She was using me as rebound. So here I am because I think I know what trend
this is too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's the same one in all of them. She's the same character in all those stories.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, okay,
This is so awkward.
I'm not flying out till 2 days later. What am I going to do? And it was the night of Valentine's Day. I flew in. He surprises her at her door. So we had dinner plans. So awkward. She had to call the restaurant and say, can we add one more person?
And then are you the one out or is he the one out? Like, I don't even know who the third wheel is right now.
Who's getting voted off this island? The three of us show up to a fucking Valentine's Day dinner where everyone's coupled off. They're like snuggling. It was like a Moroccan themed restaurant. So you're on the floor and you're like under blankets and stuff. It was like a kind of a romantic, also kind of sexual vibe. And the three of us are sitting there and everyone's staring at us like,
you guys should just ordered pizza situation? And called it a day.
It was the most fucking awkward thing. And I was like, don't do that to your friends. Don't do that.
No,
don't
that is
use
terrible.
Me as a rebound.
That is terrible.
It was awful.
Wow.
And think about her boyfriend who had driven, 6 hours
my God.
To surprise her and to make things
terrible.
Up to her, only to find me there with her.
Look, with all we've said today, you got to do what works for you. But maybe there's one thing you shouldn't do, and it's what Yue just said. Don't do that. That's our only don't friend. Do. Yeah, like do whatever you want, celebrate whatever way you want. These are just ideas. You take what serves you, leave what doesn't. If you want to get a big freaking gift or if you want socks, like go for it, you know? Just don't put your friend through this. That's all we're asking you. And if you are single, I think this is the day to really pamper yourself. You make the call. You either say, fuck it. Looking back, I'm like, maybe I needed that time that I could just like bask in my own misery a little, right? Like if you need that, go for it. Yep. If you want to hang out with friends, if you want to do Galentine's Day, if you want to do Bro Day, like what are we? Broentine Day? I don't know. Brolentine Day. Galentine Day. Whatever it is, you should do it. You know, knock yourself out. I think at the end of the day, how do you show your self-love? How do you show the people you love? Whether you're single or not, you have people that love you and that you love. So don't forget that.
I'm going to declare February 15th, Bro Day. Just full Bro Day. Bro out.
I like it. We're creating new holidays on this podcast. This is why you're here every week. So
fun conversation. We love to hear from you. How are you celebrating or not celebrating Valentine's Day? Are you doing Galentine's Day or Galentine's Day or Bro Day or no day at all? Reach out to us. Tell us what you're doing. Tag us on social media. Go on Instagram and our tag is @Dateable Podcast, or you can hashtag Stay Dateable. We'll find those too. Or send us an email, hello@dateablepodcast.com. We love to hear from you.
And remember to go to dateablepodcast.com and sign up for our newsletter. We are a couple weeks at this point. You know, we're a little over a month, but this is really new. And the idea is that we can help each other through modern dating. So join the newsletter. We've already been getting really good feedback on it and people writing in and sharing their own stuff. That always makes us really happy.
And to celebrate us and to celebrate you, give us a rating and review in Apple Podcasts.
That's all we want for Valentine's Day. All we want
5
for
stars,
Valentine's Day.
Handwritten review, translated into text. It's all good.
Send us a love letter, a love note. That's all we want on Valentine's Day. Thank you.
So simple. And we will see you next week for another episode of Dateable. We're going to wrap up this episode.
Stay dateable.
The Dateable Podcast is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. Find more podcasts you'll love at frolic.media/podcasts. Want to continue the conversation? First, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with the handle @Dateable Podcast. Tag us in any post with the hashtag StayDateable, and trust us, we look at all of those posts. Then head over to our website, dateablepodcast.com. There you'll find all the episodes as well as articles, videos, and our coaching service with vetted industry experts. You can also find our premium Why series where we dissect, analyze, and offer solutions to some of the most common dating conundrums. We're also downloadable for free on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Overcast, Stitcher Radio, and other podcast platforms. Your feedback is valuable to us, so don't forget to leave us a review. And most importantly, remember to stay dateable.